What's going on, gamers? Welcome back to Pearl. This beautiful map is back in all its entirety. No new changes coming with this one, but I know some people aren't actually familiar with the map, so today we're going to run through all the angles, stuff you want to be careful of, OP spots to check out, the whole use. You guys love this series. If you haven't been here before, we're just going to run around the entire map, clockwise faction, and then we'll switch to the other side, do the same thing. I'm gonna help you find the angles and metas you need to be aware of as you play this map. Really just help you get a good feel of what you should be doing. So very first thing is this little cross pathway here. If you have something to smoke it, that's absolutely beautiful. When Astra was meta, people would always just recall a star here. You can also just jump spot it. Your entire idea here is just to get across to kind of create more pressure on this side of the map from these lower players. People like to op this angle. So flashing or smoking against the ops, pretty good. Oh, I love new Viper. You can't pick up the orb anymore. Thank you, Valorant. Anyways, after that point, your goal is basically to clear behind this and to the side here. Even if you do this cross smoke, even if you flash at the start, there can still 100% be a player here. I know this because I play there every time it's your route. So when you come down here, you want to be careful of this side. My favorite path to do is this. So I can kind of isolate this bottom angle and this right angle at the same time. And then you would path backwards here, so you get the angle advantage, and you kind of play behind this cover to clear that, and you come back out here and you clear this. That's what you want to do. You don't want to be stuck in the middle like this, because while you're fighting this guy, you're also fighting this guy and that guy. So left side here is my preferred pathing, just to avoid all this mess. And then once you clear this, you're now on this site. Now people sometimes ask, where do you smoke, where do you throw stuff for this? And this is actually a pretty nice post plant map. So it's a nice map just to have something to plant here. You have a sage wall you can plant here, but you have smokes. But if you're throwing down smokes, I would throw smoke here and smoke top of here. If you smoke to the left more, you can kind of get like a one-way for CT. So you can always do that. I'll show you what this kind of looks like with the Viper's orb. And that can be kind of nice when you come through here. It feels like you have to worry about that a bit less. But really, you just don't want to be caught on these angles. Having these guys who can watch you from here is very nasty. So that's also where we kind of want to be careful of. So as you approach this site, there's a bunch of angles here, and your goal is to try to limit it. Whether it's like throwing a flash up here and being able to path out and clear this. It's a very important map to kind of section off. Even like gap closers like Raze and Jet should be trying to make their way over to Hull. One, to also clear this, and two, to start creating pressure here, because it's just really important. This line right here, if you think about it like this line right here is broken. Someone needs to cross this line so the enemies can't just hold like from here the entire time. It's very annoying to do when those players are there. So yeah, my recommendation, let's throw something. I'm just going to example with this wall here. So we can throw this wall up here, and then we can kind of path through here, and then we can run back sight, clear this, and then continue pathing through, drop the wall, and now we have like a wrap around. It's a very difficult spot with a lot of angles, so you have to be very specific with how you use your utility. If you're doing this with absolutely zero util, which is what I'm going to assume a lot of players are, I would again take the left pathing here and just try to clear these things one by one. This one's weird because you're going to get exposed to this and this at the same time. So I would suggest taking that one first and then continue to path through. Now that you have both of this cleared, yeah, I would clear this from close. That's kind of your best guess there. You're not super exposing yourself to more. And then you would take this back path, go through here, look towards connector, and then push into backside. That's kind of the safest path you can take here. There's a lot of scary angles, and a lot of this map has to do with being very deliberate how you slice it. So it's a very scary map. Let me show you one more time. All in one motion, so you kind of get the idea. Without any abilities, you just jump spot this. You want to make your way to the left side. You want to be careful of this close angle and that angle, and then you clear left. Come back out, clear behind the pillar, and then you continue along this path and you check up here, check CT, come close to the screen here, look towards back sight, come up close, and then tuck yourself back into this wall, check some more, and then clear that first, and then second angle, and now back sight. It's a very, very messy site, very messy. You'll see even when we go towards A, that's very messy. So one kind of key note about this map is like, you can't actually smoke everything off. So even here, if we throw two smokes, dugout's exposed. Here we throw a smoke here, and a smoke here, tower's exposed. So you have to be very careful of what's actually exposed. And this is why like Harbor and Viper kind of preferred or like more used on these maps. Even double controller, because there's just more angles to cover. Now let's say you get on site and you're like, where the heck do I play? One of my favorite spots is back here. It's really nice because you get to play this corner angle. You just get to see if someone's here. And then you're also here if you want to peek towards heaven. They're jumping out of heaven. I would never suggest peeking this. This is very easy for them to isolate. Right, they just stand here and they're only looking at you, so you kind of want to wait for them to be out. But here's really nice because you can just peek literally all these common spots people are going to retake from. You're always here ready for the action. Probably a duelist spot, but really anyone. The next spot that really complements that one is this one. So you can easily isolate connector here. But if this player over here needs help, right, you can just be like, oh, I'll help you fight this guy, or I'll help you fight this guy. Even from here, if they're fighting someone maybe out from connector, we can peek out and help them there. So it's a pretty nice position. A lot of people like post plant on this map. If you get this plant, I'd suggest it. If you get this one, I'm kind of against it. A lot of times what happens for this one especially is people just smoke it and then you're forced to push up. So really only go back, like way back if it's planted there, because you can still spam it if it gets smoked. But besides that, like even right around the corner here isn't that bad. I would suggest this line. I like more passive lines and letting the enemy start to flood out with like their util, use their flash, use their dart, counter those first, and then you peek out. So playing passive lines like this, you can just peek out and help in these spots if need be with these other two teammates we talked about. Those are my favorite spots. I really like them. This spot's okay. Kind of the same thing. You can kind of tuck here, peek towards heaven, but you're kind of exposed. So it kind of depends on where you know the enemies actually are. Very last one where I'm going to show you is this one right here. Basically the same thing. It says spammable. If anyone here is cringe enough to actually do this. Oops. Let me just pretend that never happened. And this is one of those angles that is very nice to take one by one. You can piece it apart. Playing behind a box like this is very, very nice. You can tuck here, wait for this guy to walk out CT, wait for these guys to contact, pick them out when they flash, and this guy fights him. You're kind of waiting for your teammates to activate so you can peek out here. So this is a very nice map to look at your teammates and look at how you can play around them and their positions. Next up is mid. Now if you're hitting mid from this spot, my favorite thing to do is hold this angle and see if anyone pushes up mid. I did this a lot, especially when I was lurking. It was a very nice, remember that lining up two people and their possible pass is really nice. It makes it holding angles a lot easier. It makes fighting people on these angles a lot easier. So holding this at the start is good. Peeking towards doors, never really recommended, but you can always go up here and then take this left side pathing. And this is where you get like a drone or a dog or a flash to start to come into this area. This area is actually like surprisingly not contested a lot, but it's pretty easy. Like you throw a smoke here, you get a flash or a drone through here, and there's literally like two angles you have to worry about, which is the bottom of link and then when you get here, this corner. So it's actually really, really easy. I'm not gonna lie. So let's pretend we smoke this off and we flash, or we're just pushing into this space. You just peek down here. It's not a bad spot to swing wide around because we're at such an angle disadvantage there. And then you scale up on this right side, you clear left corner, and then you hop down here and we're clearing more sight. Now when you get on site, this one's a bit tricky because there's just so many angles here again. But when you come here, usually you're gonna face a player that's like fighting your teammate's lawn and didn't realize it, or there's a guy backside. Usually you're not gonna find a guy like tower or CT here that you have to worry about. So I would look towards hall, and when I come out, I would look towards site, see if I find any players. If I don't, I'll actually like wrapping through CT and catching the A rotators that are coming through, or wrapping around in this tower guy. I'd be more shift walky here. Here I'm just running. But if you do go towards site, I would actually recommend going through halls. Your goal here is to basically clear site. And the nice thing about once you clear site is now if there was a player here, you push them back to be like squared off in this area. Because this is how we took this site. Instead of like if we were to check this first, now we have to be worried about back site. So thinking of it as like a sweeping motion, kind of like you're trying to clean a room with a broom. You're just trying to sweep all the crumbs out and push them in one direction. And here we push all the crumbs in this direction. So when we go out here, the only place they can be is out here. So while I was editing this video, I realized how fired this idea is, and I wanted to better visualize it of what sweeping the crumbs kind of looks like. This is so helpful to know what space you've cleared and know what space you need to prioritize. So let's pretend we're coming from connector and we're going to retake the site. The very first spot we're looking is back here. As we continue to come out site, we're going to look here, and then even deeper, we're going to look towards here. Sorry if these lines ain't so straight. We continue to path back site. Now that we kind of clear the best we can for this path, we're going to start coming out site, and we're going to look towards here, and then towards here, and then we're probably going to put our focus back on back site. We're gonna come up here and then we're gonna start to see into here, into here. We're gonna get deeper, see into here, into here. This looks really messy, but the beautiful thing is once we get to this point, I can basically just do this, get rid of all this ugliness and say all of sight is clear. Because what we just did is swept all these crumbs. We cleared this danger, we cleared this danger, and now when we peek back sight, all our attention should be drawn on the outside of the square. This is how you prioritize angles. This is kind of what sweeping the crumbs looks like, and you do this on every single map. This is why pathing can be so important, or just knowing what dangers you're clearing with your pathing. Let's get back to the video. If for some godforsaken reason you want to go through here, flash, drone, whatever, and you're really not checking stuff here unless you know someone's here, I wouldn't even look towards water. I would really look for someone in this closed area as you come up here, and then right here, like right against this wall here, either holding from there or this very close right, because this is primarily going to face people. Notice how I path left here so I can kind of look deeper, and if I want to check right, I path right. So really important you kind of hug your walls here as you clear stuff so you actually get the full grasp of them. You get the angle advantage, you get all the yummy benefits of that. B splits are actually super underrated. So if you're having trouble going B side, or you're like facing an opper, go link. Absolutely go link, or like lurk through link if you feel like lurking. It's an absolute beautiful thing to do. You also have the option to path through and go here, but I'm just going to show you from here. I'll show you the lurk thing too because I love using it. Is you hold this angle. It's kind of the same thing. These passive angles I feel like are very strong on this map the more I show it, because you can just hold this. People will either walk from here to here or they're walking up here, and either way you're going to catch them when you're just holding this one angle. This is really for the door player if they walk out and try to flank you guys. Anyways, but if you're just peeking at this at the start, there's really nothing special. You're just looking at this one angle. This is the one thing you have to care about. It's very rare, unless they use abilities, for this guy to like a wide swing out here because the timing here is so quick. So you look towards here, and then you kind of path to this right here, and then you start to scale up. Notice how I'm instinctively pushing my butt against the wall. Just really helpful to get that little bit of angle advantage, and it's also just to swing and see more really. Like if I peek from close to this wall, I'm not going to see as much, and so if I go further back, I can just expose more angles at once, which helps a lot for peeking. As you push into this space, you got to be worried about this box. Very rarely, like very, very rarely, people hide behind there. So you want to be careful of it. You can't really check it. I wouldn't use abilities for it because it's that rare. But you would look here first and then look towards here. And I'd go behind the box and then check it like that. Then we hug this back wall, look towards left. That's all clear. Hug the other wall, pop, pop. And be careful on top of the wall here. And then you just continue to clear. So that corner, can't really clear main from here. So we would go here, check that back sight, check towards flower, and then you would path, see if anyone's main. This kind of depends on where your teammates are. Usually when you're doing this play, you're doing a split. So you don't even have to worry about main or like this corner here. You could really just like check this, check that corner, and now your teammates are just coming outside with you. So you check back sight, and then you can wrap back here towards flower. We're going to take this path anyways. Also that down a little, you look towards flower, hug this wall, check towards bottom, clear back sight. That's the important step. There's one angle here that you kind of want to be careful of. Hopefully you have the smokes here. Otherwise, I would just make sure dugout's clear. Dugout's this little spot here, and it's kind of a tricky something to do because you can't really clear it from here because you're exposed to both these spots at the same time. So you can always just, one thing that's fun to do is just jump on top of here. Sometimes this catches players off guard. Or you can peek it from close, like, oops. Or you can peek it from right on top if you're like close, so you're not exposed to as much. Ideally, this is just smoked, but you really just want to make sure this is clear, especially if you haven't found the site player. This is a very nasty spot to deal with on post plant. A lot of times, if this is smoked off, what I see a lot of is players just walk through here, don't even clear dugout, and then they get shot in the back. Or this dugout player is like hiding right here and waiting for people to come to the smoke. Which, by the way, if you're defending, I would definitely think about it. So ideally when we come and resmoke these two. These two are pretty common. Another two you can do that are less common but also pretty good is like these two close smokes, and then you're just more worried about art here. But when you do come out and you get sight, you're looking to plant in two spots. Usually against here, you would plant against this wall, or you would plant in this corner. Now the real upside here, and this is one I would recommend for most of you, is to plant here so it's exposed to art and main. Whereas you plant here, they're just going to diffuse for free. I've seen so many rounds lost this way because the last guy's like lurking art and they're diffusing right here, and this guy's like Oh shoot. Let me see if this is wall baitable, and surprise, it's not. My go-to strat on this map has been to use a gap closer to get onto A, like a Yoru TP backside, a jet dashing on top of this, a raise nading backside, satcheling on top of this. You can even make it to like inside dugout here. Really important and also really good just to have something that clears backside here. Fade Eye up here, Sova Dart up here, Sky Dog just getting back here. Something to clear this and open up this backside spot just makes it so much easier. Then you just have the smoke here. You only have to clear close really, and then you can continue this path here. And it's like, okay, flower is kind of scary. I don't even have to worry about backside here. And then you can do our weird clear we got here. And I low-key just spoiled the entire A hit that we were supposed to do later. But this one's pretty easy actually. You just want to beat this timing for this A main player to cross. So when the barriers drop, it is important you go up here and just take this right path in. You see I hold this tight just to make sure this guy doesn't cross and get behind these boxes. And then you just, this is the only problem right here, is you're fighting this close aggressor, if there is one. So like sometimes it's good to even throw a flash for this close space. I wouldn't recommend using like a dog or something. Just a flash is good enough just to push them back and then allow the person after to peek with it. When you peek with it, make sure to clear all this close space. That's the most important part. Once you clear that close aggressor, hitting this side becomes way easier. And we basically continue on the same path from here. My only big difference for you when you come out here, this is 9 out of 10 times smoked off. So my favorite thing to do is just peek through and clear that guy. That's my biggest threat. That's all I'm worried about. See if a guy is there. Get a flash with me if possible. It's a really important map for abilities, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Especially flashes. Now, if I know how a clock works, this means we, I guess, go back to B. And I'll show you how to defend this site. Show you some of my favorite angles. So my first and favorite one is up here in heaven, is you can hold an angle like out here. You'll find some teams don't even smoke heaven. And what you do is just hold their, again, think about the way the enemy's path and just hold like a spot there's no way they're checking. So like everyone's gonna look here and expect you to be looking here or like looking here. But very few players are gonna be prepared for this angle. So holding those passive angles is really dominant on this map. You can hold them when they're coming out here, or you can be a little cheeky flash character like Arena or Yoru, and you wait for this smoke. The smoke is up and you wait for him to start coming up and you throw a super high flash like here and then you peek out with it and get your kill and then fall back. That is also a very nasty thing to do. This left side here, like connector in this corner here, it kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie. Having to even retake from here kind of sucks. So I would just avoid it. I really wouldn't. I love playing behind this spot as someone who can get out or have a teammate to play off of. You can even straight up dip in this spot if you play the timings right. Very few people know you can spam this or even spam it in general. And you wait out here and you just wait for someone to come out. And you can catch someone just walking up here. And sometimes you can just walk back into a smoke after. Or you can just hold the same angle, pray you don't get sprayed, and wait for another person to try to trade their teammate. It's a very, very nice spot. And honestly, heavily underutilized. I think about everything I just did showing you how to take this spot. I didn't even tell you about this guy. That's what makes it so good. The other pretty good spot is this corner. For the same reason, like passive angles is basically everything here. So holding like right here is really good. Holding here is terrible. But just a spot where they can't see you, but you know they're gonna have to come into this area. Hey, what's up, dude? And then you just brap. This spot's not bad, but I don't really recommend it unless you have a get out of jail card, like Chamber TP, Reina Dismiss, anything like that. You can play it a bit more aggressively though, and if you have a teammate playing with you from somewhere on site, probably one of these spots, it's really nice because you can get that entry pick and then you can tuck here and then this person can kill them or this person can bait for you and then you can usually get one here. But this one's kind of hard for people to get value out of unless they play, but that's how I would suggest it. Again, play these angles very tightly. Don't think of this map as a map for common angles really, because it's just not. There's so many heckin' angles. So your best bet's usually just gonna be like, oh, where are they not gonna be looking this way most likely? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know how many people would actually clear sight and like walk all the way up to here like this. So I'm like, okay, I'll just hold here. Thank you. Please give me your body. The early aggression isn't bad. I talked about these two spots. I like this one actually a bit better in this corner because you can play off the angles a bit easier. Again, everything's on one line here. And you can take it more aggressive if you want to while still being safe. So you can tuck here and be super hidey. But what I don't see people doing enough is just way closer like this. Especially if you hear them running up, sometimes it's worse where people are 100% going to clear you right here. Whereas over here, when this guy's running bottom ramps, maybe he's like looking here instead. And if you're just right there looking at him, sometimes you don't expect it. So I like taking that gamble instead. If you're playing this close side, I would try to play it a bit further back like this, just to give yourself a bit more angle room. And if you have like a flash or anything, like a dart, a team with a dart, anything like that can be really helpful. Besides that, you're just playing around footsteps like crazy. And you're just like, okay, how do I timing this player and get away? I would suggest peeking right side because when people enter this area, they're already on the left side. So they're usually just more grouped up here. So if you peek the left side, you might be peeking the guy just like walking into B main like, oh, la-di-da, and he's looking your way. Whereas this way, usually less people path here. So I'd suggest right side more for that. If you're opping, there's like crazy op angles for this. My favorite's this one because you can hide from the flash here and then re-peek after, or you can just hold and pray don't flash. This one's kind of stupid, but I see it working sometimes up on top of this box. You can go up here, you can wait for them to walk into this area. Usually no one loses abilities around here, so it's not that bad. Just be a bit more patient with your shot because you see how much vertical we have to cover. But the tried and true is right here. There's really nothing special about this one. I would really just suggest a different angle, even if it's just like this. I think everyone's just looking here, and this is a common angle. Everyone's just gonna look there. So anything that, like all these spots literally hold the same exact thing, but somewhere less predictable than the others, and thus will be used. Thus less people and less abilities will be prepared for them. A lot of these spots I showed you before too also really good of an op. Pretty strong opping map, I'm not gonna lie. Retaking this map is crazy, like I said. If you're retaking from here, it's basically GG. I mean, retaking B is basically GG anyways. Because if they do end up playing here and have it planned over there, it's like an impossible retake, unless you have your smokes. But my main suggestion for you, as you come from connector, is to peek backside always first. This is the main spot people are going to contest you from. This is the best spot you can isolate. If you can't get a kill here, which is really tough, you want to use something to kind of help you scale up. So you can isolate here, come out more, isolate here. And your goal, honestly, is to get backside because you just can't, there is no way you can, just like the way we retake it, you can't be worried about these two things at once. You got to sweep the crumbs. So to sweep the crumbs, we got to go backside here. This molly would allow us to do that for that time being, and then we would just peek one to another and then peek more in the back sight, and then now we can see more towards. You can jump spot here too, by the way, if you're playing on site or if you're retaking. Just nice to get that intel, especially because this angle is really isolated to all these players. Everyone is worried about this angle, so that's a nice spot to jump spot. Besides that, when you come out, you're basically scared of here and then like lawn. Like all this lawn area. So this corner, bop, we clear those. Now it's just lawn. Now it's just like, holy crap. That's the scary part. And that's why I really suggest if you're a controller that you smoke for your team. Because any other ability here doesn't really do jack. If you're a jet, you can throw smokes, but you need to have something to threaten this spike and get them off. And don't just let them hide behind angles here. The more you threaten the spike here, the more this player has to swing. And that's really important to do. Okay, now mid is a tricky one. If you're the doors player, what people usually opted for is like a chamber trip here or a sage wall here. They just were just like, I don't want to deal with this space. I'm just going to throw something here and leave it. You don't really see people fighting this. If you do, they're again playing like a passive angle like here for a bit to see if anyone's dumb enough to walk out, or they're waiting for footsteps or timing just to peek out with like a flash. You really don't dry peek this because again, there's no other place this player is going to be looking than right here. So you need to use something to dissuade that. I wouldn't really recommend fighting doors unless you're doing like a mid fight with this guy. This is because if this guy's coming up here, he can peek right here and clear this insta for you, which is really nice. So those two people working together is very nice. Besides that, this player usually plays like back here in the door, holds this angle, or all the way down here and either hold this angle or they jump spot it. This is, I think, why they added like a little slope thing here, makes it better to jump spot. It is helpful to have that mid intel. I think the person getting mid intel should be this guy. You can jump spot this too, but really I would suggest like holding this angle here, or using some sort of ability. Again, a flash is like 9 out of 10 times this thing here, and peeking with that and clearing mid. It's actually a really nice spot if you notice after a few rounds that people just aren't fighting. Heck yeah, take that space. Get in there. Get in there. There's nothing to be afraid of here. And if you get this space, it allows for literally an insta flank for A or an insta flank for B, which can be really nice. So if you notice like my teammates on A are also dying very quickly, sometimes you might want to take that risk and fight this mid player, and then you can get that fast flank behind them as they come out A. That'd be really nice. And you're like, Slayer, what about trips? What about this? What about that? I don't care. Get hit by the trip, break it, just run through. Now there's one secret spot I haven't shown you yet because it requires a little finessing to get to, and that's this spot. Omen TP, Jet Updraft, Chamber TP, a lot of things here. I think with the new Chamber TP, you could literally be up here, have a TP back there, and then have a trip for art. Oh my god, what a fire setup. I should be a coach. Anyways, from here you can literally watch all this line. You can even wait for them to like come up here. I wouldn't really suggest peeking a passive angle here. You kind of want this all exposed, because once you hide this wall, you're basically screwing yourself on angle advantage pretty hard. So I would only suggest playing here if you're gonna hide like here, wait to peek out, or you're holding from up here. So that's a nasty spot to get the planter, to get enemies just lollygagging. Again, think when we hit this site, that person on top of that box is like the last thing we're careful of. Another nice spot, kind of similar, I just kind of like it, is playing here. This is like, you can play on this side here, and then they like flash out or they dart out, and you can kind of break it, whatever. But when they come out, you can just peek and kill them, or if you get in trouble, you can just drop down here. And that's a cool little spot to get in and out pretty safely, and being a spot people really don't expect. You could do it from like back here, but I always like having that little bit of cover to hide from this flash util. Going forward, this corner, actually surprisingly strong, but kind of like this one, you need a teammate to break your util. You need to have someone who be like, hey, yo, can you do this for me? If we're going a bit more aggressive, fighting A main is not a bad idea. You can silent jump up this ramp and the next ramp, so barriers drop. You can jump up here, all completely silent, and then you can actually get a bit of a quicker timing here. If you're like me and you know about this angle, you hold this and wait for them to come up again. One angle where they like to path, and you hold this. Or if you're super aggressive, you just like can throw your flash and you're like, let's go, baby. This is a pretty fun spot if you're on an eco to be like, yo, let's 5-man fight A. And it's always super hectic and crazy, and you usually lose, but you went down swinging. I'm super excited for this map to be back, by the way. I absolutely love and adore this map. I hope you guys do as well. If they don't smoke dugout here, another walkout angle like this is nice. I hope you guys are sensing the pattern. They walk out sight, pretty free kill. Really keep in mind where enemies are smoking. I think that's a big deal. Like if they weren't smoking art, you could do the same thing, but like right here. Or you might even be able to play this corner here and get away with it. Should I cover this water part and how to do it? I mean, don't go through the sewers. If you have to be worried about angles when you're going through the sewers, don't go through the sewers. Let's talk about retake. Retake's pretty fun. Let's say you're retaking A. My favorite thing to do is just get dugout control basically, / backside control. So by going through flowers, look how pretty that is, by the way. Oh my goodness. You basically just have to be worried about these close angles, and especially this close angle here. Very few people clear. So remember to clear all your angles thoroughly here, and then your main goal is to get backside. Now when you're here, there's two places. Guys, this map is so scary for angles. Holy crap. Yeah. Alright, I'm back. I had to drop the kids off at school. As I was saying, if you're retaking backside, and close here. That's your main two priorities. So when you come up, you can even hug this. Be careful of that. Very few people play that. But just be aware it exists. I usually look back sight, look towards spawn, go up here, and then take this back wall into sight. Using this back wall as cover is really important, because if you don't, hey, look, there's main. That's probably why this is here. If there's no smoke here, you can actually just see this corner from here. And then I'm going to show you what this looks like from dugout. Dugout's pretty much the same. I prefer dugout personally because that one's usually smoked off, and it sucks to deal with a player on site dugout as you're retaking because they can kind of just hide from you. So jump spot there first is good. If not, clear the first angle and then clear the second angle, which is basically this entire space. And as you push up, you want to be careful of sight here. That's what my instincts tell me. Look at this sight, it's terrifying. Then you have to clear dugout kind of at the same time. It's awful. So I would look towards sight because that's really where people are. This angle and this angle is so annoying to deal with. You're going to fight a lot of players here. And then as you scale up, clear that right side, clear this close side, and then you can continue to push up. Now there's two ways we can take now, left side, right side. I like left side. I love clearing this, and then you can use this as cover when you do this. I'm instantly assuming that we have a smoke main because we just need a smoke main. If instead you smoke art, you can actually push this side a bit easier. You look towards main, there's a chance to just peek you at any moment, but then you can clear this and already be like on your way to clear this. Now the danger spot is that corner, so it's another one of those weird things. Maybe you clear it like this first and then swing back around. You notice how often we have to do this for this map? Absolutely ridiculous. Nerf this map, get it out of the pool. I hate this map. But what I don't hate is a like and subscribe because this video is ending. I hope you enjoyed. There's a lot of cool, nifty little tricks here. It's a beautiful little map with a lot of beautiful little architecture. If you feel like tipping your waiter, I do mini games with my subs. I have Q&A and coaching on any clip or game you come across, all on my Ko-Fi. Hey, starting at $5. So that's an absolute beauty of a steal right there. Check that out, link in the description. Otherwise, it's been a ball. I hope you enjoyed today's special little video. Probably the quickest we've ever come out with one of these, but we'll see how long it takes me to edit this. Bye peeps.